Welcome, everybody, to Service Drive Revolution, your international truck edition with my co-hosts Jeremy and Adam. How are you guys doing?
What's up, buddy? It's been a long time.
I know. What has it been, like a month?
It's been like a month.
Yeah. A lot has happened in that month. I'm excited to catch up with you guys. We also have two very special guests, which we would refer to as superstars. Is that how we would put it? And very unique because it never happens. A parts manager that became a service director, right? Doesn't happen. So for maybe the first and only time it's ever happened. But please welcome Tim and Jose to the show, everybody. Give them a warm round of applause. Hey, gentlemen, how are you doing?
Good, sir. Good.
Very well. Thank you.
They're in beautiful Massachusetts. We won't talk about the New England Patriots unless we run out of content, but we should avoid that
That's
subject.
why I came on this show to talk about the Patriots.
Jose, have you read any good books lately?
Right now I'm been pretty much into audiobooks because of my commute. So I haven't really had too much time to sit down and read, but it's I've been audiobooks and more on the fantasy sort of side of the house. Right now I'm going through Brandon Sanderson's Oathbringer.
Oh yeah, I read a lot of Wheel of Time. Holy crap, those are long books.
Yeah, they're very long.
But they're like fantasy fiction?
Yeah, they're fantasy fiction.
Like Lord of the Rings or what?
Sort of, yeah. He does create his own world and realm in it, and it's pretty intense. Pretty involved.
What about you, Tim? Have you read any good books lately?
It's funny. I've drawn a blank on it. I've probably got 3 open on my Kindle right now, but I'm drawing a blank. I don't read a lot of fiction, but there's a couple of fiction books on there. But the most interesting book that I've read recently, I reread, was Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink.
Oh, the best.
Get that one.
The best.
The best. I mean, I recommend it to I have 3 boys who are just getting started in the world, and they're in their 20s, and I've tried to get them. I'm trying to, find something that would hold their interest in terms of, they don't want to read what dad tells them to read, and but I'm trying to get them to read that. I bought them each a book, and they have a military background. They're all 3 in the National Guard, so I think they'll appreciate a lot of that. So that's what I'm really. So I reread it recently so that I can maybe coach them up a little.
Yeah, that's great. That one would be on my list of what I would have my kids read. That one and How to Win Friends and Influence People, I think, would be a must for a kid. I got that book too late in life. I was 24. I wish I would have got it when I was like 13 and I knew it all.
Yeah, but that's a tough read. It's a tough read when you're young. I think I read it when I was young too, and then I read it again in my, maybe 10 or 15 years ago. And, it's written in an old sort of style, but it really is timeless.
Yeah.
Hey guys, how's everybody doing?
Oh, our hacker Christian
What up,
is
Christian?
here.
I just wrote a book on reverse psychology. I don't want you to read it.
We won't, Christian.
You've been waiting this whole time to say that. That's
He's been
awesome.
waiting for a month. I hope it felt good. Oh, poor Christian. I waited a month for that. Yeah. So what are you reading right now, Adam?
Well, I'm actually just starting Chris Voss's book, Never Split the Difference. Have you ever read that?
I've heard of it, but never read it.
So, actually, Jose, I'm just like you, trying to run around and stuff. I got a little 2-month-old, so trying to listen to things a little bit while, screaming, or she's screaming or singing, Mary Had a Little Lamb, or Bingo is the newest one, But anyways, so I've been watching and listening to some of these YouTube clips with Chris Voss. He's a former FBI agent and hostage negotiator. So going from that, now I'm going to start his book. I actually recently started it a couple days ago. but it's really negotiating, right? I think what we do on our daily lives is negotiate, even if it's small or big, yes versus no. And I especially think in all of our service manager training or service advisor trainings, there's always some sort of negotiation. I know we talk about sometimes that upset customer, putting them on ice. But I also think in just our daily lives, just kind of thinking about, the commitment when we're talking about a yes is always a commitment where there's a lot of people that are afraid to just say yes, right? Because they're fully committed into that. So they're more, advantageous to say no. And no kind of puts them in that kind of safe place to where they get that protection. And that's where I'm kind of more interested in how does that evolve into an actual conversation, discussion, or negotiation into getting that yes of that commitment. So I'm just starting that, and I think there's a lot more entitled in that to where we can apply it in almost everything that we do. But I really appreciate, Chris Voss's, kind of storytelling in the sense that, he went to Harvard. He starts off the book going into Harvard and thinking that he'll learn some different tactics, but it's by the book. And where he applies more of the different scenarios from the FBI, he was actually negotiating with some of the experts at Harvard, and he actually had them where their mouth was dropped to the floor because he had them saying yes, where they've got the best of the best, and they still were floored and open-ended questions. So I'm pretty obviously pretty passionate about kind of starting and finishing this book, or at least on audio. But that's what I'm starting.
How have you used it on your wife?
I haven't used it yet. I'm going to be scared. I think really it's always no, right? And some sort of space. Like
so it's always no. How would you get her to a yes? Like how do you ask an open-ended question, especially after having a baby? 2 months ago? How do you navigate that like an FBI agent? Like what's the trick?
Yeah, right. Well, I first need to probably not only finish the book but practice a little bit. But one thing that he does say is give it a moment of silence when you have these open-ended questions, even after they say no.
So show us how would that play out if you were talking to your wife and you were going to leave a moment of silence? What would you say, and then how long is the appropriate silence?
All right, so I'm going to go on a golfing trip this weekend. How sound okay with you, hon?
Okay, I'm pretty sure that question is going to get us further away from the goal, not closer to the goal.
But
that can't be.
See, that's the thing. I just left it. You didn't say no. You didn't say yes. So say no.
No.
Okay, sounds good. I guess
you're getting better, Adam. You're going to get this.
God, if that was the FBI, we'd be speaking Chinese. Come on.
I'd keep reading if I were you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tim.
Just a recommendation.
I love it. I'm gonna check it out and see if I can help you. But I've seen him many times and I've never bit. But if you like it and you say it's good, I'm in. I'm gonna add it to my queue. What are you reading, Jeremy?
Wanted to let Adam finish his thought. He's really passionate about this book, and I think it's gonna change your life, Adam. I can tell. Your skill set is expanded exponentially already.
Yeah, the best we can hope for is he gets to go play golf.
Well, I do want to talk about a book that I read that I hate. But first, Jose, I'm reading The Name of the Wind right now by Patrick Rothfuss. Once you finish your Sanderson books, try this one. I do like it a lot. Not all fantasy books hold my attention very well.
This isn't a show for nerds, Jeremy.
You know what? Too bad.
This isn't Comic-Con.
You asked me a question.
Who's better, Superman or Batman? I have a really hard time with fantasy. I don't know. The suspension of belief just doesn't work for me. I don't know why.
You lack an imagination.
Hold on, Batman #1. Just saying.
What? He's. All right. Anyway,
what's the book you hated?
Never Eat Alone by Keith Ferrazzi.
What was
hate
it? What was it about?
It's about networking. It's a skill set I think is very important. And it's just the dude name drops constantly. Name drops people I don't care about. It takes him forever to get to the point, and I think that I learned one thing of the book, and that's that you can be, when you're learning to communicate with people, you can be a human being. Like, you can connect with people by, revealing a little bit about yourself, and I've been working on that. But I mean, generally, the book was just horrible to get through. I got through most of it, and then I just went on to better things. But it just, I know the concept's important, but the book was boring, and I'm not going to finish it. And I've learned, I'll learn about networking some other way, I guess.
So actually, one of the books that I have downloaded onto my Kindle is his newest book. So
Oh.
he wrote Never Eat Alone, which is his first book. You're right. It's insufferable in that way, where it's all about him and how cool he is, essentially. He wrote another one called Who's Got Your Back. It's not bad. It's about, creating a team of advisors and people that sort of help you professionally, sort of almost what we're doing here in this way. Not bad. And then I honestly don't know the title of this one. It just downloaded, and I don't even know that I've gotten too far into it. But it's his newest book, and it hasn't held my attention long enough for me to even remember the title. So, but it's on my Kindle. But it's interesting that you mentioned that. I was gonna mention it was Keith Ferrazzi's newest book, but I didn't know the title. So.
Yeah, maybe he's developed his skill set. I don't know. I just didn't like it. I don't like people that name drop a huge amount, but
I agree with you on that one.
Although people that name drop a lot seem to be good at networking, although it is insufferable, they seem to be the kind of people that are better at networking.
I mean,
let's
whenever I
face
talk
it,
to people,
It's how you perceive yourself, though. Like, it's good to network, but you don't need to, everybody you meet, say who you've met before. It's just, it's there. That's networking and interacting. I don't think you need to name drop people.
Well, I agree
thanks,
with
Jeremy.
you, but
You just saved me some time.
yeah, I think sometimes it's more important to talk about the books that we didn't like, because I feel like people feel like when they buy a book, they're obligated. And I get 2 chapters in, if I haven't learned anything, my rule is if you haven't taught me anything in the first 2 chapters, I'm out. I'm not obligated to do anything. You work for me. I paid you to teach me. And if you're not teaching me anything, I'm done. When I write books, I feel very responsible to teach people stuff right away, because that's how I want it. But a lot of people who teach book writing and who write books tell you that the book should just agitate the question, because then they need to come to you for business, right? So a lot of books will agitate the question and never teach you anything. And I hate that. And I can tell right away, like, if that's what they're doing. Give me some meat, give me something that I can implement and see some success.
Well, and there's one more other thing, like Jose was saying about, audiobooks. I have way more respect for authors that go into the audiobooks and that read their own books than the ones that don't.
Yeah.
Because the ones that don't, it's really hard to capture my attention. But like Grant Cardone, he reads all of his books and he'll throw some other stuff on side just to, like, as a little bonus to his book, and it's always way more engaging.
Yeah. I agree with
see
that. Okay.
Speaking of insufferable name dropping, I was talking to the voice of God the other day, and I had a question for him. If you witness a robbery at an Apple store, does that make you an eyewitness?
Oh my God.
I don't get it.
That's a good question.
Can you
everybody's better at
Eyewitness?
dad jokes than I am.
That's a good question.
Apple store? Oh,
iPhone,
eyewitness. Got it. Okay.
Thank you, Adam.
I'm slow.
You're welcome.
Okay, cool. That's good stuff. So how do we learn from Tim and Jose today?
Well, I think that they've been on a journey since attending the manager training that we held in LA in January. And I
Very
kinda
first
wanted-
one, right?
Yeah, yeah. He went coast to coast to see the manager, to attend the manager training. So, and I think that speaks a lot. And they've made a lot of good strides with our team and by themselves. And I kind of wanted to learn about their journey. And I think that there's a lot to learn for everybody when you start at a place and you're continually trying to improve.
Sure.
But
Well,
that's me.
yeah. Well, I mean, for us, so understand here, this was the former Minuteman Trucks. This was a family dealership. And, 18 months ago, Allegiance Trucks, which is now moved into other areas, bought other dealerships. But this was store number one for Allegiance. And I was, the old owners, which was a family store, they exited the system, and so they exited, and so I was brought in as the parts and service director, to, I don't want to say to corporatize it, but certainly to make it less of a family business and more of a corporate entity. And so one of the things that I realized fairly quickly is that I needed a new service manager. The previous service manager was a really nice guy, but he just didn't really believe in a lot of the numbers and the metrics, and a lot of the things didn't really necessarily measure the business. He was never asked to do it, so it wasn't something that was important to him. And even when I would work with him and try to explain how important it was, he didn't really see the value. So we knew we had to make a change around the first of the year. It had just so happened that we knew there was management training. So this is perfect. If we identify a candidate, we can get them through the training, so at least they understand, some basic principles and some of what, what Navistar, the world of service according to, how Navistar sees it. Jose was identified. He had been here long before me. He had been working as a parts manager in a remote location, but my boss, Chad Shrimp, recognized his talent, and we talked through it and said, hey, I know you want to make a change, and I think I've got the guy for you. So that's exactly what we did, and so we executed that change right after he came back from service training. So now what do we have? We have a new service manager. I've been here only for 6 months at the time. And so now we've got to figure out, I knew where we wanted to go, but I wasn't 100% sure how to get there. And so one of the first things you do is when you go into a DMS or you go into a business system, there's a lot of data, right? There's a lot of data. There's all kinds of numbers. But what we didn't have, at least what I thought, was we didn't have a lot of information. So we needed some way to translate that data into information, and so that we could put it in. My vision's always been a graphical representation, right? How do you take a whole bunch of numbers? I've got a whole bunch of reports here, and put them into a picture, into something that you could show to, say, even a technician, and just people could understand the business that way. And so, Fred Medeiros, who's our Navistar rep, he and I had talked. We talked quite a bit, and he recommended, the action plan, that Wayne had put together around the service dashboards. And so we were able to set those up pretty quickly, and we could see again. And it's just like you said, it sort of charted our journey, which started 7 months ago. And we've been able to make improvement because we can measure, take some of those things and measure what we have. And you obviously you can't improve anything until you measure. So that's been my focus. And at the same time, thinking a guy like Jose, and he can speak about how he's gotten the technicians and the advisors and the other folks to sort of buy into that by using that information.
I really like the difference between data and information.
Yeah.
Like that's a point I've been trying to talk about for a long time, but I never really verbalized it properly. Like there's a big difference, and I'm gonna steal that, Tim. I'm sorry.
Actually, I stole it from
Yeah,
someone else. I stole it from someone about 15 years ago. So, I had someone tell me the same thing. I got a lot of data here, but I don't have any information. I need you to help me get some information.
Yeah, I wrote that down. That's what we need to start communicating, even internally at Navistar, because we have this plethora of data, right? But show me the story of the information. Actually, start executing and making changes. I think that's awesome.
Right, and I would add the word actionable information. What action? What can we take action on today? And so that's that's again really what I've been trying to do is look at the tools that we have. We had not used repair management here previously. The previous administration, just not a fan, didn't see the value. Once someone sat me down and showed me repair management, I said, I couldn't understand why we weren't using this, and so that's been one of our focus areas too, and that's helped drive a lot of improvement in efficiency as well as some other things.
I think one of the big things too is just like you were saying with information and data is taking that information and then developing it into processes, right? And so that's where the changes or the major changes that we've had take place is the amount of processes we were able to hone in on and focus on, because like you mentioned, it was a family business before, and the attitude of, well, this is how we've always done it for the past 30 years, trying to get out from under that and develop a process that actually works with the data that we have and the information that we have to be able to be successful and move forward. And then one of the big things that was a good takeaway for me was sort of like an eye opener, and I actually saw it more as I was, growing in the service field or in this role. Was you guys at the training called it murder line, but I like the murder line, but we pretty much just made it a water line. Okay, so the water line, this is where we want to be. And you can take that for what it is. If you're under the water line, you're drowning, obviously. But so we implemented that, and obviously we had to make some of those hard decisions of, okay, this cat's not staying above that water line or where we want to be, and so we make those improvements and move forward, and that slowly gets the ship righted the right way.
Yeah, that's awesome. A good one. What I remember, Jose, weren't we talking about in January about your approach to the shop and how when you came in it was a mess, that Pigpen was allowed to have parts everywhere, the whole thing, and part of what I really liked about what you were saying is changing the culture and the image and the expectations in the shop was you started off by listening, right? And then doing what you said you were going to do. And you came in yourself and helped put in cabinets, and it didn't cost that much, but just, your attention to it and you being a part of the team, not being a dictator sitting in an office, but actually going out and interacting was kind of the beginning of that magic, right? Could you talk to that a little bit?
Yeah, actually, that probably was the most crucial portion, because again, I've been with the company for a little while, but I was at the other location, so I knew of the guys around here and whatnot, but we never really met face to face. So when I got the opportunity to be the project manager for setting that up and straightening out the shop with that portion of putting cabinets and physically building this stuff, I was in the shop working side by side with the technicians and with a couple of the guys putting this stuff together and getting to know these guys on, I don't want to say on their level, but pretty much with them in the shop. That pretty much gave me some street cred with them, and was able to get that, okay, hey, this is who I am, get the personalization back and forth with these guys, which was tremendous, because at that point I was able to build that respect and show them that, I respect them in their trade, and vice versa. So you get that one-on-one time with a lot of them.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that's missing out there in shops is that a lot of times the shops are more like anarchy, and they're kind of running and setting the the culture for the business. But what they really want at the end of the day is they want somebody who's going to lead them, who's fair and listens, right? But the important part is that they're being led and that they have goals and that we're getting better and improving and we're being held to a standard, but that we're fair on the backside. That's leadership, not just letting them do whatever they want. Sorry, Tim. What were you going to say?
That's exactly. I mean, and that was a conscious effort. We decided we lost a warranty administrator as well, so I brought Jose over to help figure out warranty. So, and he kind of became a project guy. I'm thinking, okay, what's another project we can do? And 5S was an action plan that we had, and a goal that we had. So, it worked out much better than I ever imagined. For him to be able to work, like you said, side by side with folks and just get to know them and understand them. Too often in either one of these jobs, again, when we're talking about all the data and all the reports, it's sometimes too easy to be stuck in the office, and we have to force ourselves. I'm not saying we're great at it. We have to force ourselves to get out on the floor and do the kinds of things that we all know we need to do. We all need to do more of it. But that's a good reminder of that.
Yeah, that's good.
That's cool.
What are the most important measurables that you guys look at every day, every week? What are the numbers you're looking at, or the statistics?
Sure. So if for the longest time, I was focused on productivity. But then, when we sort of went into COVID and we didn't have a lot of work, it was tough to really hold the line on productivity because, to me, productivity is, how good are we at providing work for a tech per se? How good are we at making sure the tech has work and can stay in his bay? So when we shifted into COVID in March, we got more excited about efficiency, and our efficiency was in the, it was in the 60s. Again, we wasn't anything that was ever focused. And, we've just had 2 months of 85+% efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
How did we do that? The murder line that Jose talked about, all those things, tracking it, again, using it's a fairly simple package that, Wayne and his team and you guys have put together just to be able to load some data into it and produce information every morning. But that's, again, it helps people see where we are. It's be like playing a basketball game and having the scoreboard with off for the whole game. And then, at the end of the game, the whistle blows or the gun sounds and we turn the scoreboard on, we look up and say, oh, geez, we lost by 10, but you don't know. And so it took us a while. We sort of struggled with technology, but we have a big screen out on the shop floor where, I take the information that is produced by the action plan every day. My goal is to get it done by 9 o'clock every morning, is to have it stuck in a PowerPoint that's up there, that's rotating through so that people can see where we are and understand it. So, awareness is the most important thing. So efficiency was the number one thing for a while. And now that work has returned, we are much more productive. We are measuring productivity as well. So, productivity is now even more important. And then the other things, ELR is a big number for us.
Mm-hmm.
Revenue is obviously a big number for us. And then, I, every morning, it's habit, but I look at the 5 Diamonds dashboard every morning. I look at that. It doesn't change every morning, but I look at it every morning just to make sure that we're where we need to be. So
it does update every day.
Well,
I remember that was the yeah,
right, but
it's not like.
Well, it's not like the stock market. It's not like it's going to change radically. Once you've attained a couple of those, you're good for the quarter. But as warranty claims are processed, yes, the velocity percentages change. So it does update every day. It's just that it's not always. You may go a couple of days without a considerable percentage change.
How much has your ELR gone up since January?
Um, see, we're at probably $10.
That's awesome.
123, and we're up around 133 now. The one thing that's improved dramatically is the customer pay segment of that.
Good.
It improved dramatically. Warranty and the internal stuff isn't. I mean, it's important, but it's not as changeable as the customer pay.
Now, to bring it back a little bit more, because I know you mentioned you asked Chris about what I do or what we do in terms of like monitoring those stats. One of the things I do daily, my first thing when I get here in the morning is slap on that computer and I run a report called the technician time. It's like an RTT report for us, and so it's something that I look at, and I look at every individual technician, what they were doing prior to, how many hours, how much time is on a work, how many was available or indirect time, the break time, and so on and so forth. And I take all of that data, and that way I'm able to monitor and review, okay, how much actual work time has were we able to collect or sell as opposed to available time, and then have those discussions like, okay, I see you got 4 hours of unbillable time or indirect time. Let's figure that out. Oh, whether he was repairing something or fixing something for the maintenance side of the house, or not collecting, then I can figure that out. But and sometimes what that also leads into is for me to hone in on the guys with punching or clocking discipline. That was one of the big things that I had to actually reel in, where a lot of the guys weren't all that great with maintaining their punch times, or maintaining, I'm on this truck here and let me punch off of this, wait for another job to come in, or wait for the foreman to tell me what's going on, and so on and so forth. Go get that truck and bring it in, then punch onto it. That would be about 20 to 30 minutes, a few times a day. That adds up, So when I'm able to monitor that, that helps us feed into maintaining that level of efficiency.
Yeah, it's good.
That's great.
How Tim? How do you think customers have changed in the last 3 years?
I don't know. I think customers want more information. That's one of the I think I360 is a great tool. Customers want more information. I mean, but I don't know that they changed dramatically, other than the fact that their expectations, have changed. In a world where you can get a next day delivery from Amazon or someplace like that, people have I still see stuff sometimes when you order stuff. It's 4 to 6 weeks for delivery. I'm thinking 4 to 6 weeks. What's 4 to 6 weeks? You can get something over in a couple hours. So I think customers have that sort of expectation around repairs, or certainly part service, or other things. But that's I think customers want more information for sure.
More information.
It's easy accessible, right? Our environment's changed a lot over the last several years. Everything's at our fingertips, especially with information. You don't need to really necessarily call. You can just see it.
You can Google anything, right?
Right.
Yep.
And on that topic, I see a lot more DIYers. The guys say, I can fix this myself. I just saw this on YouTube.
I saw a 12-year-old on YouTube. Same thing, Jose, with medical advice. A lot of people think they're doctors because they watch YouTube. I always tell people, I'm like, your doctorate degree on YouTube is not gonna get me to take that. I'm sorry. It's funny. Yeah, that's interesting though. More do-it-yourselfers, DIY guys. Makes sense. I think too, like a lot of people who are mechanical are craving that, that touch and dirt and working with your hands thing, right?
Yeah. Well, I think so. I think one of the things that we people who are like that want more of that. And I think think about how we've changed and our lives have changed. We do things like, they have things like CrossFit and Tough Mudders and all these things where we've taken we almost live in a environment that's too easy, that we have to artificially create some of this.
Hardship.
Yeah, hardship is the right word. So that's sort of part of it. It's the same thing, people who you lose this, doing a home project or a car repair or something like that gives you a sense of accomplishment, and that I think it's harder and harder to find that just sitting behind a computer all day or whatever.
Yeah, because everything's so easy.
What's that?
Everything's so easy.
Yes, everything is much easier. We've sort of eliminated gravity. We're all in this weightless environment where everything is easy, and we have to give ourselves our own sense of gravity sometimes. We
I like that
atrophy.
perspective.
Jeremy's writing that down.
I like it.
Jeremy's like, I'm gonna do Tough Mudder. I'm gonna build a motorcycle that'll break.
I was waiting for that one too. I was like, that's why he's still upset.
I'm gonna sheetrock my basement.
Yeah.
I'm not sheetrocking my basement. This is a whole thing.
I'm gonna put that pink jacket on a hanger. Oh wait, we did that. Check. See that feeling of accomplishment, Jeremy?
I'm just awash with it right now.
When you sheetrock the ceiling, are you gonna hide the light bulbs in the ceiling? Or are you gonna? Where do the light bulbs go when we sheetrock that dude?
I'm not sheetrocking the ceiling. This is a thing. This is a basement. It's supposed to look like a basement.
Oh, there are people that aren't afraid to.
Seems like you got more lighting per square footage there.
Yeah, it's like Christmas lights, right? Kind of like full
They're
size
actually,
Christmas
they're actually
lights.
outdoor lights. They're outdoor lights
Yeah.
that people put outside for
What lights?
Yeah.
Bring the outdoor inside.
I asked him if they changed colors, but he won't admit that they actually changed colors. He's got a disco thing going on.
They don't. If they did, I'd
And then he
change
puts
colors
on-
periodically and just still not tell you that they change colors.
Who's
So
behind
Then
thought
he
you?
there was
throws on the
something
pink
wrong.
jacket.
Somebody's behind you, Jeremy. Don't look now, but somebody just walked behind you. Oh wait.
That's
there.
probably my beautiful wife that's throwing boxes around.
Hi.
Hi, honey. You're on camera.
Hi.
Broadcast all over the world.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well,
International now.
big fans of yours, Tim and Jose, and I really love the time we spent together, Jose, in January. Like, just your attitude and your approach and your mindset is contagious.
Picked up a lot from you guys. So
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I want to say thank you. Appreciate you guys kind of sharing that journey with all of us, because we don't always get that opportunity in our seats to really kind of, something from the training aspect, piece by piece. I mean, not a lot of this stuff is really truly turnkey, and you get back in, and a lot of times what we try to either coach or discuss with folks is, when you go back to your environment, try not to go back to the same old ways, and you didn't do that. And I don't know if you guys really had that opportunity to go back to the old ways. I think you're probably were kind of forced to think outside the box, and obviously with our current environment, I think everyone is, but you guys truly, the successes even in this kind of short period of time, I mean, I know I said it earlier, you guys got to pat yourselves on the back a little bit, but obviously that continuous improvement's always there. But hats off to you guys. We want to continue to support you in all your successes as well.
Thanks. We appreciate your help. A lot of this stuff.
This is a really warm way to end a podcast, by the way. Just saying.
Oh, God.
Reminds me of something.
What's that?
What does it remind you of?
A pink jacket.
What do you call a three-legged donkey?
What do you call a three-legged something like something? Ass?
Tripod.
Tripod.
Close. Very good, Adam. A wonky.
Okay.
No, it's
I
my
don't
turn
get
not to
that
get
one.
it.
Here's what we
I
learned
don't
today, everybody, recapping that data and numbers are not a lot of information. You got to paint a picture, right? Systems and process, the murder line, and everybody go out and read Never Eat Alone. your guide to networking.
Also, productivity is not a measure of your technicians. It's a measure of your ability to fill the shop.
Yeah, that was good too. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one.
Productivity is our responsibility. Efficiency is really their responsibility.
Right.
And in a sense, even if you take efficiency, if you say, hey, there's a numerator and denominator, the numerator is really how well the technician performs what he's doing, but the denominator is what we sold the job for. Sometimes that you don't ever think about that sometimes. Like, we've got to give people a fighting chance.
Yeah. That's good.
Amen.
Thanks, gentlemen. This was really fun. I hope you guys stay safe.
Yes.
Be good.
Safe.
Thanks, you guys. Thanks, Tim.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Jose. We'll see you guys next time.